Hey guys, welcome back to Kiksta. So today I'm going to review the most recent movie I saw, which was the Super Mario Brothers. So going into this movie, I have to say I'm not the biggest Mario fan. I played some of the games growing up, like mainly Mario Kart, played some Super Smash Brothers, played some Mario Party, played even some old Donkey Kong games on the old Game Boys, but I was never the biggest fan. It's something for me that was always just not in my field of view, mainly because I was a PlayStation guy growing up. I had the PS2, PS3, PS4, and so obviously Mario and Nintendo's wasn't exclusive to my platform. But that said, I always had a respect for those kind of games. They're kind of light, fun, they're not too deep story or not too complex, they're just very kind of straightforward and linear. So naturally I was interested to see this movie, and I was like just kind of wanting to see what's the potential with this movie and maybe its future, because you think about the Nintendo properties and there's so much potential that they could do and expand upon that. I wanted to see how they get this off to a start. So my initial thoughts. I had a good time with the movie. Thought it was a lot of fun. It's more targeted at kids. It's, there's animated movies that you go and see that can just appeal to all ages, that are just phenomenal to anyone who sees it. And I'm thinking of the likes of like Toy Story, of Monsters Inc. Even recently you had the likes of Moana and Frozen, which are just all really great films. And you go back to the likes of Aladdin, Lion King, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. Those are kind of the gold standard when you think of animation movies. But Mario is different. So if you're thinking it's going to be like the quality of one of those movies, you don't think that. It's like, be prepared. It's a very simple plot. It's just basically a story about Mario saving his brother Luigi. That's the whole thing. And he discovers the magic, the Mushroom Kingdom, and he's finding his way through it, fighting his way through it, completing different obstacles and challenges, all to save his brother Luigi. Now, it's a sweet little film. It's got nice little touches with the family aspect at the beginning between Mario, Luigi, and their family, which is really nice. It kind of sets a nice little scene there, and it has its payoffs in the end. But the story throughout is pretty thin. It's just basically like video game cutscenes mashed together to create this film. But I think one of the things that works to this film's strength is the length. It's only an hour and a half long, so it definitely doesn't get bogged down in too much stuff. It's straight to the point. You kind of just jump from one scene to the next. Action-wise, one moment he's fighting Donkey Kong, 1 minute he's completing an obstacle course, 1 minute he's doing Mario Kart. It's just one thing after the next. Is that you don't. That's one of the strengths of the film that I think really particularly will appeal to kids who don't have great attention spans. But if you're trying to win over that more mature audience, I think that's where it lacks. I think the film could have really benefited from just having like a few minutes of dialogue here and there. It probably just adds up to an extra 10 minutes onto the film that you just insert here and there throughout the film, and you'd have a much more fleshed out movie that could compete with the likes of those legendary animated films. But instead it just kind of settles for being just a fun, pretty much just video game adaptation of itself, put onto the big screen. And so those are my kind of general thoughts. I look at when I examine the performances, I thought Chris Pratt, everyone had the biggest questions about Chris Pratt going to this film. Like, how's he going to do the voice of an Italian guy of Mario who's got such an iconic voice? They do a really great job of explaining it in the beginning, how that kind of stereotypical voice, Italian accent is just put on for their plumbing business, but they actually have just kind of regular Brooklyn Italian accents when they speak. So that's kind of a really clever way of getting around that issue of, because I don't think anyone would really want to watch a movie of Mario saying like, hey, it's me, I'm Mario, the whole time. That'd get a bit kind of like tiring, and just it'd be a bit crazy. So yeah, I thought Chris Pratt did a great job. You forget a lot of the time it's him, you're just seeing Mario. And I thought the same with Luigi. Charlie Day does a great job of Luigi's voice. Charlie Day always does that really great kind of whining voice, and works perfect for Luigi, who's basically a damsel in distress in this movie. Peach is fine. Bowser is probably the standout by Jack Black. He's really good, and he brings a lot of that humor to the film. It's really great. Even Toad is a cool little character who has some funny one-liners. yeah, the Donkey Kong, Seth Rogen, I'm not a big fan of Seth Rogen, but he does a decent enough job as Donkey Kong. And all the parts just work together well in this film to create a fun little adventure. And I think, you can see the box office numbers rolling in for this film. It's going to make easily over $1 billion, and you're going to see a massive NCU, Nintendo Cinematic Universe, launch from this, and the possibilities are endless. My other thoughts about the film, I mean, the scenes within themselves are really perfectly executed. If you're a diehard Nintendo fan, you're seeing these games that you've played your whole life just lived out on the screen, and it's so much fun. It just puts a smile on your face. And if you're not a Nintendo fan, you're kind of easily able enough to put yourself in the position of like, oh yeah, I could see how that would have been a cool thing to play in the game. It probably is. A lot of people who watch this movie who aren't Nintendo fans are probably feeling an itch to kind of play those games. I know I certainly do, particularly the likes of Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. I'd love to pick up again and have some fun with. So overall, this is a fun and solid little film. I give it a 4 out of 5 for what it is. I think it does what it intends to do. I don't think they were trying to do any more or less with what they had, and I think the runtime of the film exemplifies that. They just want to put this really nice and tight little story onto screen, and it has plenty of fan service. I think it's put a lot of smiles on people's faces. I know myself throughout the whole time, despite not being the biggest Nintendo fan, I was just smiling from ear to ear the whole time, and I just had so much fun with it. So yeah, definitely I'd say a solid 4 out of 5. I would watch it again for sure, and I'm looking forward to what they do with the universe going forward. So thanks for watching this review, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.